Yeah, you're looking at a person that's been devastated and assaulted by HBO from their new show called Last of Us Season 2. Now, of course, I'm being a little over dramatic, but the point being is that I, it was not a good season. It was actually kind of below expectations. I already had kind of like high expectations. I was expecting that they would do something like different this time around because it's a show, it's an adaptation. So, they already know how, controversial the second game is. But I guess they didn't really understand that point and they just thought, fuck it, let's just do the same thing again. And even worse, which we'll kind of get into it a little later on. But the point being is that the show was that bad that I couldn't even bother like editing my videos. I usually edit my videos. I don't even make like webcam videos because I don't even get the right angle. Like right now, my whole setup is in such a weird jutsu way that I have to like make it this way, and it still doesn't even looks good. But was just like, I just need to get this over with. So again, I usually just run like the finals or Fall Guys gameplay in the background, and then I just call it a day. But again, this is Last of Us Part Season 2 we're talking about. And before I kind of rip into this poo poo, this stinky train, before I kind of, dissect this like zombie, I kind of need to talk about what my stance on Last of Us 2 in general is. So, Last of Us Part 2, I feel like Last of Us Part 1, the game, I like Last of Us Part 1 as a game. It works. Like it had the good story, it had the new gameplay. It just worked. Like everybody likes the first one. The second one was a little controversial. I don't think it was that bad. I think it was like a 7 out of 10 or maybe like a 7.5 out of 10. Like it would have been a good game if it was not Last of Us. But the problem is the story, it's a story game first and foremost. Like the gameplay is still good, the graphics look good, but story wise it was kind of messy. Right, like there were a bit of problems here and there. I really don't care if Joel died. Like I feel like that's a very bold move that they want to kill like some of the main characters that people care about. But it just seems like that they did it in like, again, Last of Us Part 2 has like many good ideas, but it just executes them in the worst way, or at least in a very messy way. And I feel like that's why people didn't like the second game all that much compared to the first one. There are many games out there that kill like main characters or characters that we care about. So it's pretty common. I don't know, like that's not really the problem. It's just done in a messy way. So that was kind of my stance on the second game. Now the show, I like season one, like many people. I think the season one was done pretty well. The things that they added, like Bill's backstory, was also pretty well done. It was just good. It was a good all around season. Bella Ramsey, now this is the main point, was also good. I liked Bella Ramsey in the first season. I think she did well. But in the second season, that's where the big problems come in. That's where the Night King, the Breaking Bad starts to happen. This is kind of the thing that I knew was gonna happen from the get go. Like, the first time, like the first glimpse that we got of like the teaser of season two, I just kind of knew that this was not really gonna end well. The problem with Last of Us season two is that Bella Ramsey, Ellie is supposed to be 19, and she still looks like 14 years old. So looks wise, we have already seen how much the internet is making fun of her looks, and also the haircut is just weird. It makes her forehead look bigger than KSI's forehead. It's not that her forehead is actually big, it's just that the hairdressing company, like whoever takes care of like Bella Ramsey's hair, just messed up. Like they someone sabotaged her, and she's getting all the hate for it. Like it's really the writers and the casting directors that should be blamed, but none of them are getting blamed. It's just Bella Ramsey that's getting all the hate. But again, like she just should have been recasted because first she doesn't look like an adult and she doesn't act like an adult. That's like the main problem with Last of Us Part 2, like season 2, is that the main problem with Last of Us season two, and especially with Ellie, is that Bella Ramsey still acts like the goofy little 14-year-old. That's where the huge problem comes in. Is that where she almost always acts like this goofy 14-year-old, like the first game or the first season, which really doesn't make sense because her father figure, spoiler alert, her father figure died. So, I feel like that would be a big deal and that would change her pretty much, mentally at the very least. But I think that's not the case. So she acts like she acts in this goofy way, like nothing bad has happened. So for the first 2 3 episodes, again, she was kind of cringe, but I was able to go through it. I was fine with it. There were some additions that I like the whole Jackson invasion with the zombies thing. I feel like that was done pretty well. Like that was not in the game, and I feel like that was pretty done well. Like, and same with the whole Dina and Joel thing. In the game, Tommy basically tells people that Joel is actually Joel, and that's how Abby gets to know that Joel is Joel, which is kind of done in like a very forceful, weird way. But in the show, Dina calls out to Joel, and it makes sense, right? Like they're in a very dangerous situation, and then Dina is calling out to Joel, and then that's Abby happens to be there, and then Abby finds out that, oh my god, that's Joel. So all of that makes sense, right? Like at the end of the day, all of that makes sense, and I thought that was done better in the show, right? And this that's really it. Like, that's where all the compliments end. The Jackson invasion and the whole Joel reveal thing. Everything else was either just done on the same level of the game or just below it, mostly below it. But the problem that really comes off is that even the things that they do add is just done terribly. Like, for example, one of the main things that happen in this season is that when Bella Ramsey, aka Ellie, and Dina, they're going out for revenge. First of all, they have like Dina tries to convince Ellie that she wants revenge, which doesn't really make sense because I thought that Ellie, like the whole point of the fucking game was that revenge is bad and how like you drown people get in revenge when revenge is like such a bad thing. Bad revenge is bad. That was like the whole point, and like how the cycle of revenge is bad and how it kind of sinks a person into like that destroys their personality, the whole bah humbug, all that. But that doesn't happen in this show. Like Ellie is still the normal person. She isn't affected by revenge, or her personality isn't. I feel like the show constantly like flip flops. It can't really decide that what they want to commit to for Ellie as a character. Most of the time, what they really do is that basically sometimes Ellie will be like, so much into revenge that she wants revenge. And sometimes she's just goofy, so she doesn't care, and it's like what the fuck, like it's like the show can't really decide if they want Ellie to be this rage-inducing, like sort of like this girl that's like angry, and she's just so like determined to get her revenge, versus someone who's just kind of goofy, and like it feels like that I'm watching like a high school drama, because sometimes it feels like that. Episode 4 and 5 is the lowest point of the show. In episode 4, one of the prime examples of this, in the entire episode 4, basically Ellie and Dina are just kind of like goofing around. It doesn't even feels like that they are on a mission to get revenge. Now, mind you, in the second game, there is like, Ellie and Dina do make couple of jokes, but Ellie is like, clearly you can see that the goofy side of her is like very died down. Like it's something that's very colored out. So it's not really like, she's not that goofy anymore. She doesn't have that goofy energy anymore like she used to. So her doing this in the show is already weird. But the biggest problem, and I'm pretty sure you have seen the clip on like social media and stuff, the I'm gonna be a dad scene, and boy is it bad. She basically, so what happens in the game, Ellie is like, hey, you know like Dina basically reveals that she's pregnant, and Ellie is like, okay, like in the game, this is a very serious reveal because first of all, she's pregnant. They're in like enemy lines because they wanted to get revenge, and they're like there's like zombies and like people that they want to kill them, and vice versa. So like it's a very dangerous place for like a person that's pregnant. So after all that happens, that reveal happens, and Ellie obviously scolds her for that. That she's like, she's a problem, for them, like dead weight, basically. So that's why she scolds her over that. It's a very serious scene, and it's like an argument between the two, which makes sense. It's very realistic. But in the show, do you know what happens in the show? Ellie ends up high fiving Dina's unborn baby. They basically end up making out, hooking up, and she basically finger blasts Dina, which is very weird because Bella Ramsey, again, as I said, looks like a 14-year-old, and Dina's actress actually looks like an adult. So that makes the whole scene even more weirder. But like, that whole scene happened. It was so out of nowhere. Like I know Ellie and Dina hook up in the game too, but it happens before Joel's death. It makes sense before Joel's death, not after Joel's death. After Joel's death, Ellie is supposed to just see red. She's just supposed to be going down, gunning down people. That's another thing. Like Ellie doesn't kills a lot of people in the show, because I mean, first she looks like a 14-year-old. Like even when there are action scenes, it looks goofy. Like there's just one action scene where this 30-year-old dude, by the way, who's probably trained and all that, Joke holds Ellie and she's able to break free from him by like punching him on the side a little bit. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like if the guy got his hands on her, she would have been cooked. Like she would have been just choked to death immediately. Like she's not fighting off that arm. So I get it why they couldn't have that many fight scenes with her, because she, it would look goofy, which it would. But like again, it's like I don't really see the entire point. Also, they make Ellie just kind of dumb in this show. There's sometimes outright that Ellie will say, "Yeah, I'm a dumbass." Like no, like Ellie in the game is like reckless, sure, because she's so much into revenge, but she's not dumb. She's intelligent. She's intelligent enough to survive. She's smart. I don't know why in the show they just made her like, oh yeah, I'm dumb. So I don't know how these things work. And also the chemistry between Jesse and Ellie, it feels like a babysitter relationship rather than like a friendship. So most of the time it just feels like that Jesse is like a babysitter to Ellie. And then they have this last weird conversation where basically, so again, as I said, the show kind of flip flops around. If they want revenge, if they don't want revenge, like Ellie, just like they can't decide if Ellie wants to be revenge hungry or if she doesn't want to be revenge hungry. So what they do is that there's a scene where she wants to get revenge. It's that scene where they're hearing gunshots, and she's like, oh, we can go to the aquarium and stuff, and Jesse is like, no, we can't, that's just kind of like not good. And like it's that whole hoopla, and then she says, oh, fuck Tommy, I want to get Abby's in that aquarium, we need to go to that fucking place, we need to fuck her shit up. And basically, she's like, it's supposed to show that she's like so much into revenge that she's able, like she just throws away her friends. But later on, like there's a scene where with like Ellie and Jesse, like this is towards like the end of the season, where Ellie basically says that, oh yeah, if you were ever in trouble, I would just like basically Jesse says that, if I was ever caught or in a bad situation, I know you would tear down the world for me to save me or save my ass or whatever. Which isn't true, because she already almost abandoned Tommy and Jesse, like she wanted revenge. So she went out there to get fucking revenge, and like she basically just left Jesse and Tommy. So I just don't really get that. Like that line doesn't really work. Like what the fuck are you talking about, Jesse? And it's like it just doesn't work. Like this entire show can't decide that whether Ellie needs to be like revenge hungry or not. The only good episode in this entire show was episode 6, and the reason why it was good because A, Pedro Pascal, and B, Bella Ramsey is actually playing a 14-year-old. So it fits, like it isn't cringe when she's cracking jokes and making goofy faces, but when she does that outside of episode 6, it's very cringy, and I just really can't take it. So that's like kind of the thing. Like, she doesn't looks like a mature adult. She doesn't like acts like a mature adult, and it just comes off as very goofy, and like I can't digest it, basically. But yeah, that's basically Last of Us season 2. Also, they kind of divided the show. I hate that how every show nowadays does this same fucking thing, where they'll take a show and just divide it in like 2 seasons. Like, every fucking show does this. I don't get it why. This all started from Attack on Titan with like season 4, part 1, part 2. And now they're doing this with every show out there. Even Squid Game had the same thing. Like, I just can't imagine. And the people, it's worse for the people, right? Because for the people who haven't played the games, they have to wait like 1 or 2 years for the next season to like get the conclusion. And the conclusion isn't that good if they're gonna go like, 1 to 1 with the game. There's also, like, before I go now, there's also another one scene that's very pointless. It's basically Joel, like, it's basically Ellie, like, she's going to Abby, through a boat, but her boat kind of like, it's thunderstorms, so like the boat kind of stumbles around, and like it basically she ends up getting back to shore. But then the whole Scar people like get her, and she's about to get gutted. It's like a sacrificial like ritual. But before that happens, there's a fire in their village, and they're like, oh shit, our village is getting attacked. So they leave Ellie. And then Ellie just gets back to her boat and just goes to Abby again. I don't know what the point of that scene was. Like, it's like nothing happened. If you just skip that entire scene, you would lose nothing of value. You're not losing any plot. Like, you still understand everything else. So again, the entire thing is just like I don't understand why they didn't just recast Bella Ramsey. They already have Caitlyn Denver that looks like Ellie anyways. Like, just take her. She kind of looks like Bella Ramsey, and she looks like Ellie, and she's an adult. She looks like an adult person that I can take seriously, and she's actually threatening. Like basically what Bella Ramsey feels like is like a 14-year-old acting like a 30-year-old detective who's also having like midlife crisis. It's obviously cringe. It doesn't work. Like, you're not that girl, bro. You're not her. Okay, you're not the old badass. It just doesn't really work. And like, Bella Ramsey was great in season 1 because she was playing a 14-year-old. The problem is she still looks like 14, and she's still acting like a 14-year-old because of the script. Obviously, it's not like her choice. But yeah, season 2 was not good. It was pretty bad. I mean, I can't wait for season 3. Let's see what happens. Like, Abby's actress did pretty well, but again, they also kind of nerfed her. She was pretty buffed in the games, and in the show, she's pretty slim. But yeah, not good. I was pretty disappointed. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. That's Last of Us Part 2. The curse of like The Last of Us Part 2. Last of Us can never have a good sequel. Just let the thing be at Last of Us Part 1. And like, I do low key kind of feel like that this was all a conspiracy theory by Neil Druckmann. Basically, he wanted the game to be more respected, so he made a shitty season 2. So now people are going back to the game and have a newfound respect for it, which kind of makes sense. Like, it's working. So, people are going back to the game and being like, oh, look how good the game was. Like, the storytelling in the game was so much better. So I feel like that might be like, kind of his conspiracy theory that I have cooking up in my brain. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Neil Druckmann fucking sucks. But yeah, uh, that's pretty much about it.